Only 28% of Americans says that the president inspires confidence.
I don't think he's gonna pull his shoe.
That was my phone.
What's up, guys? Your boy Benny. The canary in the coal mine is a saying that is actually based on canaries that were taken down into coal mines that would die from toxic fumes before like a human would. And so you literally bring a little bird down, and if something was really bad, if something went super sideways down in the mine shafts, that bird would be dead. And you'd say, we got to get out of here right now. The canary in the proverbial coal mine of our politics today is a guy named Steve Kornacki at MSNBC. Now, this guy works, again, for MSNBC and NBC News. So you'd assume that there would be some type of bias, but the reason why I use his reporting is that by and large, and I've followed his career for a very long time, this guy is like straight up based on the data. Now, maybe the data is wrong, but this guy is a data guy, and he just gives it and dishes it out as it is. He is the canary in the coal mine. If everyone's going to die of toxic gas, he's going to let you know. And, well, ladies and gentlemen, get your hard hats ready because this one's going to hurt if you are a Joe Biden supporter. Out today, new NBC News poll, which, by the way, is considered the most accurate of all polls and the most expensive of all polling. General election, Donald Trump 47, Joe Biden 42. This is the worst that Joe Biden has ever polled against Donald Trump ever. This is the best that Donald Trump has ever polled against Joe Biden. Biden's job performance, the worst ever. Disapprove, 60%. Only 37% of Americans approve of his job performance. Breaking all of these numbers out, you can see that Joe Biden has the worst approval rating in history, not by a little, by like 20-point margin here. W. Bush, Obama, Trump, Joe Biden is running for re-election in the worst possible environment. Skipping down here to some of the other crosstabs in this polling, Biden versus Trump, white voters plus 17, black voters only 50, so plus 59% for Biden. But what does that show you? That should be 90%, right? Like for Biden, that's what the Democrats need to win. They need 90% of the black voter turnout. This is actually a shocking erosion for a Democrat who is the sitting resident in the White House. Hispanic voters are going for Trump. How unbelievable is that? Hispanic, Trump +1. That is insane. Of course, the Republicans and Democrats break out along these lines. But look at this. Independents. Trump +20 points with independents. And what they want to do a better job on? 55% say the economy. Donald Trump will do a better job on the economy. Donald Trump will do a better job on securing the border. Full poll. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're finished. You're finished. As of these polls, you're done if you are the Democrat Party. And that is what NBC News reported to their audience this morning.
Sunday morning, we begin with our brand new NBC News poll, which brings more warning signs for President Biden and his re-election campaign. One of our pollsters tells us we are looking at a, quote, presidency in peril. With the general election just 9 months away, President Biden has declined on every measure since 2020, is struggling with key elements of his base, and now trails former President Donald Trump by wide margins on the issues voters say are most important to them.
A reason why I use Steve Kornacki's reporting is that Steve Kornacki has the brass balls to walk onto the NBC set and say Joe Biden is doomed. And he did that this morning as the producers screamed and cried tears of blood and salt in the production room. Watch.
Political correspondent Steve Kornacki. Steve, these are some truly stunning numbers.
They really are, Kristen. And let's just start with the bottom line. When you ask folks, hey, if it's the general election and it's Trump versus Biden, in our poll, Donald Trump now leads Joe Biden by 5 points. Compare that to the last time we polled back in November. Trump was ahead then, but it was only by 2 points. And it's even more significant when you look at it this way. Over time, we have been testing for 5 years now, going back to 2019, a Biden-Trump matchup. Remember, 2019, 2020, Joe Biden led. He led big in every single one of our polls. For the first time in November, Donald Trump polled ahead in our poll, and now at 5 points, this is the biggest lead NBC has ever had in 16 polls for Donald Trump over Joe Biden. And of course, undergirding all of this is this question of he's the incumbent Joe Biden. We ask voters, what do you think of the job he's doing? And look at that, Kristen, 37% approve and now 60% disapprove.
And we should say that is the lowest approval rating since former President George W. Bush's second term.
Yeah, and it's put that in further context, too. Bush in his second.
So, yeah, it's kind of hard to actually get around those numbers. Like, regardless of what the biases of NBC News are, those numbers are hard. They're fixed. They are actually representative of other numbers that we see across the spectrum. Like the Real Clear Politics polling average here shows Trump up by 2 points. Obviously, it shows Trump overtaking Joe Biden in the polls, and now Donald Trump having a massively wide margin. Look at that, the points. 4-point spread in favor of Trump. By the way, if you go back to the 2020 election, then you can see that Donald Trump never once overcame Joe Biden in these exact same polls. If you go back to 2020, it is wild. This is wild. And so the writing, ladies and gentlemen, is on the wall. It is pretty devastating. This is Trump aide Jason Miller. But I thought there was some corollary between behavioral Democrats who masquerade as independents to invade the New Hampshire primary and actual general election voting independents. How will President Trump ever recover with independents? Highlighting, of course, that this is probably the most shocking part of the poll, like altogether. Donald Trump winning by the biggest margin ever in the poll's history is pretty big. This, Trump by 20 points with independents. NBC News poll shows Trump holding a 16-point advantage with Biden on being competent and effective, a reversal from 2020 when Biden was ahead of Trump by this quality by 9 points. NBC News poll, Trump +5. During the COVID cycle, NBC News conducted 12 polls. Trump was down in every single poll by a margin of 6 to 14 points. At this point in 2020, Trump had a 46% approval rating. Biden is at 37. This poll has Trump up by 19 with independents and 1% with Hispanics. Trump is up by 22 on jobs and 35% on immigration and crime. Because of course he is. Biden's candidacy is in peril, according to NBC News. We are seeing it. And NBC News, of course, the parent company of MSNBC, that just went to a black barbershop and said, okay, guys, listen, you're obviously the cornerstone of the Democrat Party. What are, you're going to vote for Joe Biden, right? And here was the response.
People in your orbit who are either voting for Donald Trump or considering it?
For sure. A lot of my friends are obviously my age, so we're a little younger. We've only voted once, for a president. And Trump is kind of all we know. And they're kind of Trump and Biden. They're like, well, we were broke with Biden. We weren't with Trump. And that's kind of the only thing that I'm hearing over and over again is that, well, Trump, we had money. Well, okay.
Well, with Trump, we had money. We're broke with Biden. Black voters told MSNBC could spell bad news for Biden, could spell absolute disaster because you cannot win without this subsection of the Democrat Party. So there's an MSNBC reporter going through like all black neighborhoods in South Carolina, listening to people say, Donald Trump, in spite of all the craziness, I can agree with him business-wise. I'm trying to grow my business. As far as Biden, I haven't seen Biden really care about my business like that. And the concern is having my business so I can build generational wealth for my kids. Donald Trump has a reputation of being a money man. This is what people say on the ground. This is what people say when you actually listen to them. Joe Biden got screamed out of a black church just 2 weeks ago. Bad sign for Joe Biden. BLM leaders are endorsing Donald Trump live on Fox News. This guy's named Mark Fisher. This is what he's doing. And Donald Trump saying that he's probably going to go try and make a play for New York, the state of New York, to win in that state. You have to hear it to believe it. Listen.
The Republican Party under Trump has become a tremendous success.
Are you going to be able to flip blue states like in New York and in New Jersey? There's a rumor you're going to do a rally in the South Bronx.
I think so, yeah. I think I will do that. And
when are you going to do that?
I think I'll do one maybe at Madison Square Garden, too. I think we have a chance. New York has changed a lot in the last 2 years. We have migrants all over the street. They're living on Madison Avenue. I mean, nobody can believe what's happened to New York. The people of New York are angry. People that would have never voted for me because I'm a Republican. I mean, they're Democrats. Their parents would they vote for Democrats. I think they're going to vote for me. So I think we're going to give New York a heavy shot. They're very unhappy in New York, what's happening. And they're unhappy with the crime. You take a look at the crime in New York, it's at record levels. The other thing is, and very importantly, New Jersey. I think New Jersey can be flipped. I think that Virginia can be flipped. I think that New Mexico can be flipped. And I think Minnesota can be flipped. And I'm not even sure that everything can't be flipped.
Incredible. I'm not sure everything can be flipped. Speaking of New York, which I think Donald Trump, I mean, I don't know. I haven't run the numbers, but listen, a lot of people love Trump in New York, okay? Including 50 Cent. 50 Cent blasts New York Mayor Adams for planning to give prepaid credit cards to migrants. Trump is the answer, 50 Cent says. So 50 Cent posted this. New York launches $53 million program to hand out prepaid credit cards to migrants with the caption, "I'm stuck. Maybe Trump is the answer." Look at that. What you're going to do, man? When every rapper endorses Donald Trump, what are you going to do? What are you going to do when Donald Trump gets a mugshot and this is what Atlanta looks like? People showing up in the streets to cheer for him, saying free Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, it is outside of the realm of them being able to control the narrative any longer. That's what we were witnessing. And it's really, really an exciting time. Truly. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. Free my boy Trump.